Hi, my name is Joseph Parker, WBO champion of the world, and you're watching Sporting Icons.
So I want to talk to you guys about the Joshua and Parker fight, which is happening this Saturday at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales, for the unified heavyweight championships of the WBO, IBF, IBO and Super WBA. Now, this is a fight between two undefeated young fighters, and both of them have advantages over each other, and of course, their same advantages as well could actually be a disadvantage. And I'll try and explain it as best I can because there's so many different variations for this fight, and nothing is really going to surprise me how this fight goes. Either man can win, either man could do it by knockout. It won't surprise me if the referee stepped in, a towel gets thrown, something. Now, with Joseph Parker, a couple of things that I have noticed about him over recent times is that his defense hasn't really been that good, but it has improved. It really has. But it's only improved to the point where he used to get hit with the jab quite a bit, and basically virtually any shot coming through he would get hit by. But now he's pretty good at blocking the first shot, but he has a tendency, when he blocks the first shot, he thinks the job is done and he pulls his arms down. Joshua is a combination puncher, and Joshua is going to connect with him if Parker still has this style. Speed is going to be the key for Parker, no doubt about it. He needs to keep on moving, make Joshua chase him, but Joshua, equally, if he was to be smart, stand firm in the middle of the ring. Don't chase him. Conserve your energy. Now, there's a myth, if you like, that Parker has a granite chin. Nobody in the world has a granite chin. Nobody does. Nobody has hit Parker as hard as what Joshua is going to hit him. So it's going to be a big test. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't go down, but I do fully expect Parker to hit the canvas at some point in this fight. Likewise, it wouldn't surprise me if Joshua hits the canvas at some point in this fight too. And I'll try and explain to you why. Now, obviously, drop your thoughts below as to what you think are the advantages of both fighters and what both fighters need to do in order to beat each other, as in from a neutral perspective, if you like. Now, see, a lot of people think that Parker's going to be food. He's going to be easy work. No, not at all. Not at all. Now, if it does turn out to be a first round knockout, that will surprise me more than anything else. It really would. I do expect this fight to go into the deep rounds. I really do. But to start the fight off, Joshua always manages to find his range very, very quickly. Parker is very erratic, as in he's very good on his feet, but he's more dangerous when he's on the back foot, when he's up against the ropes. Because when Parker's back is against the ropes, he will eat up a couple of shots, but then he will fire back with combinations, and he's one of these guys that can hit you from virtually any angle. So he will throw the overhand, he will throw a hook, he will throw a punch straight down the pipe, he will throw uppercuts, all within the space of a couple of seconds. So he's not just going to... Parker isn't a one-puncher. He isn't just going to one-punch and then back off. He's going to throw combinations and start swinging. Now, this could work out to his advantage, because we've all seen that Joshua, when people start throwing combinations at him, he does get hit by some of them. But of course, when you're throwing combinations, they're not exactly full power. And if Parker was to throw full power into each of his shots as he's throwing combinations, he's going to tire very, very quickly. We've seen him tire against Takam. And the reason that Parker tired against Takam was because Takam was putting the pressure on. He kept on coming forward. And of course, he could eat up a lot of the shots that Parker was throwing as well. So, but this is going to be an improved Joseph Parker. I believe we're going to see the best Joseph Parker that we have ever had. Now, for this one fight only, you all know I'm a big fan of Joseph Parker. But for this one fight only, I kind of want him to be not hitting form, if you like. I'm quite happy for him to hit form after this fight, okay? But I'm against Joshua. Obviously, from a nationality point of view, I want Joshua to win this fight. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen. So, as I said, with Parker, he has a tendency to now block the first shot, but then drop his arms and try and stroll around the ring. That isn't going to work with Joshua. Joshua will be following up with either another jab in the face or straight right. Now, Joshua is very, very good at counter-punching as well, but Parker is pretty good at counter-punching. He's not as good as Joshua, but he can throw combinations where he doesn't mind if he gets hit. If you notice with most heavyweights, when they get hit, they go into defensive mode and try and move out of the way or wait for the opponent to back off, and then they come back into it. Parker will eat up the shots, but then within a split second start throwing some back. And Joshua really needs to be careful of this one. Parker does have the power to knock out Joshua. Equally, Joshua does have the power to knock out Parker. And Parker also said this recently as well, 2 days ago in an interview, where he says that he believes that if he was to connect with Joshua first, it could be good night. Equally, if he hits me, it could also be good night. So he has conceded that Joshua could actually knock him out. But again, as I said before, to beat Parker, you've either got to really outbox him and keep him at range. If necessary, just outbox him for 12 rounds. Don't do anything stupid. Or you need to flatten him and nail him to the canvas, because Parker will not lay down. He will not do a Charles Martin. He will not lay down. He will not take a knee and wait for the count. He won't do that. Parker will, if he's got virtually no energy left, he will muster up every little bit he's got to climb back to his feet. He's one of these guys, you've really got to lay him out, and he will go out on his shield if necessary. And I think he's quite happy to do that. I think Parker is one of those guys where he would rather lose by knockout than lose by points. That's just how I feel about it. Now, as I said, Parker, very, very fast hands, and he needs to keep on moving his feet. Make Joshua chase him. And there's a good little tactic that him and Higgins and Kevin Barry have put into this one, and it's a psychological tactic where they've come out with a granite chin and the fact that Joseph Parker cannot be knocked out. That's almost an invitation to Joshua. Come and knock me out. In other words, overcommit. And while you're busy trying to do that, I'm going to counter you. I'm going to make you look stupid. Because Joshua knows that if he hits Parker, it's going to be good night. Parker also knows if Joshua hits him, it's going to be good night. But they're doing it so Joshua only has one thing. I want to be the man to stop Joseph Parker. And this could play into the hands of Parker. I really believe that, and hopefully Joshua isn't that stupid. Hopefully his trainer, Rob McCracken, who's obviously been around for a long time, will have noticed this and say, look, don't get stupid. Don't go for the knockout unnecessarily. If you can, great, but win the rounds. Now, Parker, you see a lot of people say that he's very good with the engine. He did tire out in, was it round 6 or round 7 against Carlos Takam, but again, that's because Takam was all over him. He was mauling him, just kept coming forward, kept eating up the shots. That's not Joshua's style. Joshua doesn't waste punches. Okay, so again, if you notice that whenever an opponent of Joshua gets down low and kind of like ducks and moves, Joshua, he tries to fight on the inside, but he's still upright, trying to throw an uppercut, which isn't going to work. He deals with big opponents quite comfortably, which is why I believe that had he fought Deontay Wilder now, much easier fight, because Wilder doesn't get down low. Parker does get down low. Parker can get down low. If he tries to stand toe-to-toe with him and trade, I can only see Joshua beating him by knockout. So he's got to keep on moving. Adopt the Mike Tyson, get down low, push your forearms into him, send him back into the corner, then unload. I mean, there's so many things that both of these guys can do. There's so many different variations of how to win this fight. And while there's a big part of me that believes that Joshua is going to knock him out, there's also a part of me that believes Joshua is going to overcommit trying to knock him out, maybe get tired or get countered. As we say, Joshua is a better counterpuncher, but Parker is also very good at counterpunching, and he's pretty good at body shots as well. So Parker needs to make sure that he doesn't go headhunting. If he goes headhunting, this could work out bad for him. He needs to go for the body of Joshua, tire him out. If Joshua isn't going to be chasing him around, at least try and get in on the inside, because he's a much better fighter on the inside than what Joshua is. Joshua is very good at finding his range. When Joshua, he sets out a jab, within that very moment, he's found his range. Where a lot of people, they set out the jab, they move, they do another jab, and then try and figure out the range. Joshua finds it like that. So, but Parker's going to know all this. He really is. And he's not coming to lose. He's coming to win. He's got a lot on the line. He's got a whole country behind him, just like Joshua has. And all this talk of Joshua saying, I can't afford to lose, that's nothing to read into. It really isn't. And as I said, the combinations and the hand speed of Parker, while they're not concussive, will cause Joshua problems. Joshua does not like getting hit. When he gets hit hard, his feet turn to concrete almost. It's not the pace of the fight that tires out Joshua. It's getting hit that tires out Joshua. And we've seen that with Dillian Whyte. You know, he looked like his feet turned to concrete because he got hit by a Dillian Whyte with a vicious hook. And he just went rigid. Parker can also do this. You don't have to be a concussive puncher to stop Joshua. He really doesn't. Now, Joshua's going to have the confidence coming in because he's been on the big stage before. And again, with Parker, he may not have been on the big stage before, but he has been in the arenas where he's not the hometown favourite. He's been in there. He has travelled. And, of course, once the bell goes, it's him versus Joshua. It's not him versus Joshua and the crowd. Now, will the referee play a part in this one? Maybe. Potentially. Will the judges play a part in this? Maybe. Potentially. Hopefully not for any of it. I want a very, very even fight. I don't want no kind of excuses after this fight. If Joshua loses, then Joshua loses. If Parker loses, then Parker loses. But this is a very, very tough fight. So for anybody who thinks that Joseph Parker is food, I hope you're right. But I don't believe so. I believe this will be Joshua's toughest fight to date. I really do. As I said before, I believe Parker is a much, much tougher fight for him than what Wilder is. Wilder relies on the one big punch. But because he's tall, Joshua is used to tall opponents who are there, who don't bend down, who don't move around so much. Well, Wilder moves around, of course he does, but Parker is very, very good on his feet. But he goes in there to fight, not to box. And this could play into the hands of Joshua. And to beat Joshua, he needs to get on the inside, and if necessary, get on the back rope and let Joshua throw some punches. And then Parker does what he's very, very good at, which is counter straight away. And that way could end up countering Joshua, clipping him, and ultimately knocking him out. But I do feel, though, that Joshua is going to knock him out. I do think that Parker is going to hit the floor in this fight. I do feel that Joshua could also hit the floor in this fight. And as we said before, Parker is very good at counterpunching, but not as good as Joshua. So this could be the fight where a counterpunch ends it for Joshua. As in, he gets hit with a counter shot that he's not expecting. But ultimately, we'll really have to wait and see. I mean, I do feel that Joshua has the edge on a lot of things, but Parker has the heart and the determination. Joshua does as well, of course he does. But how would Joseph Parker react when he gets hit to the canvas hard? How is he going to react when he realises straight away that Joshua hits harder than anybody he's ever been in the ring with before? How's he going to react? If he gets dropped, you see a lot of people, when they get dropped by Joshua, automatically you can kind of see in their face like, what the hell? And not only that, you can almost see the money signs rolling in their eyes like, damn, you know, stuff this, I'm getting paid and I can just go home early and fight another day. So I'm going to stay down. I don't believe that's going to be Parker. I believe Parker isn't here just for the money. Of course it helps. So if he loses, oh well, you know, he's got a few million in the bank now. It ain't that big a deal. He's done what he set out to do, which is secure his family's future. But he's going to come to fight. Because in a rematch, he gets even more loot. But anyway, drop your thoughts below. I mean, this is a very, very difficult fight to call from many different angles. Again, if you really think Parker's food, I hope you're right. But I don't believe so. I've seen Parker fight many, many times. And the last couple of fights, he hasn't been at his best. Will he find his form again? Will he get back to his best? We'll have to wait and see. But ultimately, I am picking Anthony Joshua to win. and I'm picking him to win by knockout. Not necessarily concussive knockout, but to the point where Parker is weak and can't really defend himself that much anymore. He's eating up shots, and while Parker might be able to take the shots, if you like, the referee may not see it that way. The referee may step in thinking that Parker's out of it or he's getting hurt, when in reality, he's probably not, because Parker is tough as nails. So maybe the referee may get the wrong impression in this fight when Joshua is unloading on him and step in. That's how I believe the fight's going to happen. I do believe after the fight, Parker's going to say, oh, it's all right, that the referee didn't need to step in. But ultimately, the referee's not going to know if Parker's really hurt or if he's not. So that's how I believe the fight's going to happen. At some point, round 8 or 9, Joshua is going to unload on Parker and the referee's going to step in. But that's my prediction. That's my thoughts. You let me know yours. Click that thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.